Hey YouTube, it's Morgan, aka the Mountaineer. I just got done filming a couple minutes ago a box opening, which will be posted before this. But as I mentioned in it, it's time I'd need to do a little bit of jarring some tobaccos. So one of the things I got was Star of the East, 8 ounces of Star of the East. So I'll start with that. I don't have too many of these. These are my last empty half pint jars, but what I'm going to do is instead of just jarring it, I'm going to press as much as I can and then jar the rest in this one. So it's always fun getting this set up. Sorry for the, I'm sure, lovely noise. I'm also experimenting with a new little microphone down here, but let's see. Gonna chop this off real quick. Try to find something suitable. Just do it like that. Try to get all that mark off of there. Don't want Sharpie funk on the tobacco. Okay, so got that in there. Something I got months ago but haven't used yet. I haven't pressed any tobacco recently, but this is the canning funnel I've had for quite a while. Man, this is awesome for putting tobacco in either regular or wide mouth jars. It is great for putting coffee in jars whenever I roast coffee. But I got as you can see, that doesn't fit. It kind of matches up, but it doesn't fit. It actually goes over the threads on the press. So I bought a pair of smaller funnels. So that'll fit in there. Oh, it's not doing what I was hoping. I was hoping it would crunch down like that. But anyway, so that'll fit in there. That should make life a lot easier when it comes to putting tobacco in a press. Another thing that would be nice, but I haven't found anything for it yet, would be something about this size, a little bit smaller diameter than that ram there, just for a little bit more wiggle room, but to pack the tobacco down in the various layers. Definitely gonna have to jar this all up now, because I think I'm jacking up the bag pretty bad. Yep, got a nice big hole in the bag. I can't remember. I think you can end up fitting about 4.5 ounces, something like that. Like a fair amount in this press. You just kind of fill it up as much as you can, and then pack it down a bunch. Fill it up more, pack it down. Keep doing that, and so you do it in layers. I mean, I've never noticed in the end flakes any of those layers develop, anything like more dense at the bottom where it's been kind of gradually packed more. I think the amount of pressure we're talking initially filling it is not nearly as much, not nearly enough to cause a difference in the final product when pressed with the actual press. But let's see. I'm not sure how much this bag weighs. I have a little scale right over there. I can kind of, I don't know how much the press weighs either. I can probably weigh how much of this is left in the bag, put it in the jar, and weigh how much, just to see how much is in this press, rather than waiting until the pressing's done and weigh the cake. Oh, my hands will smell nice after this. My wife was thinking about traveling this weekend, Sunday to Tuesday, with her friend, but she's kind of a little bit nervous about this coronavirus mess that's going on. She's just afraid of going to a city and then getting in contact with it, not necessarily for herself or, the boys or me, but just out of concern for coming back and then being around the older members of her family. Her mother, she's actually over at her parents' right now. She headed over this evening after I got back from pottery class, and after the boys were in bed. My mother-in-law's having her gallbladder out tomorrow, so she'll be, I guess, a little bit more susceptible to that type of thing. She's worried about her grandmother, being around her grandmother if she's been exposed. I think, I'm no health professional, but I always see these big epidemic, pandemic type things they start talking about and freaking out about. And I just think, well, if it comes to it, it'll suck to get it, but really, I'll take my chances. Swine flu, SARS, the avian flu, all this stuff, not to take them too lightly. They kill people, they're deadly, and even if even if it's not deadly, it's no fun, certainly, having that thing. If even if you make a full recovery, it's still an illness, but I just don't get too overly excited about it, and I just try not to let it affect my day-to-day life. But Shayna actually texted me tonight, or not tonight, but today while I was at work, and she said she was going to a conference in Phoenix. In mid-April. She said, well, it was canceled because of the people that were putting on the conference canceled it out of fears of the coronavirus. About said swine flu, but I feel like it's such. It almost always ends up being a lot of ado about nothing. I hope I'm still right in that, and it doesn't turn out to be bad. I think the worst part of it, to me, the scariest thing, is just that you can be asymptomatic and for like 2 weeks, and yet be a carrier and be spreading it and contagious. That's the worst thing, because you don't know. It's not like you have it, but you're not showing any symptoms yet, and you're not contagious, but then that's the worst part. Okay, 119.4 grams. I may end up having to go back and look at the video to remember that, but okay. So, anyway, I'm hoping that everything's alright, that this thing doesn't cause any major problems. It's already taken a hit to the economy. I hope it's just a bunch of hype and people getting overly anxious over nothing. Ooh. But I guess we'll see in the coming weeks and months what happens, how bad it ends up being. But I really think that, granted, there's no flu or no virus for it, but I honestly think this thing's probably just about on par with the flu. America's had, on average, I think something like 30 or 60,000 or something like that deaths every year from the flu. And so another thing, it's way more than anything we've come close to seeing with the coronavirus. Let's do it. 4.9 grams, so that was 119.4, so 114 and a half, 115 grams, so that'd be what, about, oh, my brain isn't working all that great, a little under, right around, or maybe around 4 ounces, probably about 4 ounces in that, 4 ounces in this. If I didn't use my phone for taking videos, I'd bust it out and get the calculator, or if it was earlier in the day and my brain was working better, mental math would come a lot easier, but of course I could have weighed the jar before and after too. See, there we go. Nice jar of Star of the East, and then a nice press of Star of the East, and we'll make some Star of the East flake. I'll put what this is. And jarring date. If I had well, I have a color printer, but if I had a decent computer that worked well, I end up using my phone and iPad for everything anymore, but I would, print out the little jar labels, but as it is, I just use the old trusty Sharpie. So we'll go with jar 1. And as you can see, I just had a few specs that these things work really well for keeping the tobacco pretty much getting into the jar. Alright, now some Mountaineer blend. Alright. I haven't tried this yet, it smells good. Nice and sweet. Feels like it's about... And I'm back. Sorry for the interruption, my wife was calling me, and apparently the phone cuts off whenever you get a call, or the video camera cuts off whenever you get a call. I forgot to put it on airplane mode, which is probably good because I might have forgotten to take it off, and my wife was starting to get worried. She actually called twice, but anyway, she made it over safe and sound to my in-laws. But didn't miss too much. I got the Mountaineer blend jarred up, and got another King Street Emporium blend Happy Accident jarred up. So anyhow, it's I think that first video, I didn't realize I was rambling that long, but first section about 15 minutes. I'll probably pare some of that out, speed some of it up maybe, but you can see how quickly it can go to process both press and jar up tobacco. And I'm telling you, if you don't have any of these canning funnels, get some. Very handy. Get a couple varieties. Obviously, the bigger the better. The tighter fit, the quicker it is. And then if you have something, if you have one of these noodle presses, one of these things works exceptionally well. But anyhow, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later.